everyone. Today we're gonna do a little bit of sketching, but before we do that, I do need to plan out my day and make sure that I set myself up for a good day of sketching and things to do. So that's what we're gonna do right now. The first thing that I normally do, obviously, is wake up in the morning, um, exercise, have breakfast, get ready, and then probably for my to-do list or activities, I start the morning with some sketching. I find that when I sketch in the morning, art related projects end up looking a lot nicer because I've already took the time to warm up in the morning. I also found that if I sketch in the afternoon, sometimes I won't even get to it because I have already prioritized projects throughout the day and I'm already tired by the end of the day, so I just don't bother to sketch anymore. So that's why I've made the change of sketching in the morning. Because I didn't have a restful sleep, I did have to get a little bit of sugar in me. So that meant snacking a little bit earlier than I usually do and drinking coffee. Normally, I don't like drinking that much coffee because number one, it yellows your teeth, and then number two, it's not a very good habit to have drinking coffee every day. And I find that I don't really need it as much other than the days where I just don't get enough sleep. So today we're going to be talking about representation in art and representation in career as an artist. So that is our topic of the day. But before we start with our little chit chat of the day, I do want to let you guys know what it is that I'm doing here. I'm basically doing a studies of the pea squirrel. And the reason for this is because I'm trying to sketch as many mammals and amphibians as possible before I go back to doing some character designs for my animation show, which I have put on pause for now. But hopefully, in the near future, I go back to working on it again. I've spoken about art and representation and why it matters here on YouTube, here and there, but I've never really made a full video about it, and today I wanted to do that. So let's talk about it. So in middle school and high school, I was very clueless. I think throughout my whole life, I was clueless about what it was that an artist could do and what careers there were. My mind was very limited to painting and drawing, and that artists either sold their art um, in a gallery or just sold their art on the streets like a street artist. But there was no, I just had no idea that there were other ways to make money as an artist and other possibilities for us. So when I was growing up, I thought that I would, yes, be an artist, but I thought that I would be painting and have my work in a gallery. And that's sort of what I was limited to throughout my whole life right up until my senior year. So I had to do a little bit of research and I had to type into the computer like some sort of I think I typed in like careers for artists or how to become a professional artist. Something along those lines. But it took me to just a bunch of like random websites where it was telling you like the different careers that artists could have. I know there was for a fact illustrator, and then there was animator, and then there was other random like careers, but I really didn't really think much of those because it was like graphic designer, architect, and then the last one was photography. And I was like, well, those are like things that I don't want to do, obviously, because they don't seem like fun to me. So I was like, well, I'm for sure not doing any of those. And then when I saw animator, I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And then I sort of fell in love with it because beforehand, throughout like as a child and throughout high school, I just loved anime. And because my love for anime is what drew me to animation in the first place, even though I knew that animation was a thing, I didn't even know that you could make a career out of it or it was something that you could learn, which was crazy to me. I just had no idea how animation was made at all. So that world to me was like completely unknown and so new to me when I like did research on it. But I did a whole research on like how to become an animator and like what to do if you want to become part of the industry and create anime itself. And that's why I went to college for animation. But me being all delulu and sort of innocent to this world, I went to a college that didn't focus on 2D animation and definitely not Japanese animation. So I kind of just did what I had to do to complete my degree and learn as much as possible as I could in that school. And that is why representation in careers matter because there was literally no one for me to reference off of. There was no one for me to look up to. There was no one for me to maybe do a little research on, maybe get to know their story of how they became an animator. It was just simply non existent during my time. And especially in mainstream media, there's nobody that looks like me within my industry that is very well known to be an animator. So it is literally just up to me to figure out how it is that I was going to get to where I wanted to be. And that takes us to our next topic of why representation in art matters. Because although, yes, now I am finally an animator, the next step to take will be to finally represent what I never saw in the industry. The stereotypical Mexican American, which is something you see a lot focused in within films, even from like 2000s to now, present day. I think it's very difficult for writers to really get a character that feels authentic, but especially to the Mexican Americans because we have all gone through very universal experiences. For example, the recalentado, the reheating of food when it comes to the tamales and the pozole, where it's like you not only have them during Christmas or Thanksgiving, but you have them weeks on end because there's just so much food. And of course, we're not wasteful. So, that's going to be our meal for the whole entire week. Or your mom making caldo in the summer when it's 90 degrees and you're sweating as you're eating. Or your parents saying no to fast food because there's already food at the house. These are universal experiences that, Mexicans, Americans have. And it's such a missed opportunity when writers don't write those things in, those little details in, because then what it's doing is that it no longer represents the real world that people with these experiences that are part of the community can relate to this character. So now this character no longer becomes a representation of the people that it's supposed to represent, but now it's creating sort of like this stereotype. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of missed opportunities that have happened throughout the years when building a character that is supposed to identify as a Mexican American or just a Latino in general. And what I'm seeing, even in the mainstream audience, is that they are looking for the correct type of representation and they are looking for unique stories because these days we have a lot of like the same repetitive stories again and again, or just remakes of the same movie or film or animation, or maybe like a live action version of it. And I think people are starting to get tired of that. So there is definitely a need for BIPOC and representation within the film and animation industry. I think those people that are really just gatekeeping definitely need to see that things need to start to change for the better. And that is the reason why a lot of artists are starting to go independent, and write their own stories and look for funding on their own outside of like the industry's help because if they don't want to let us in, we're gonna find a way to create our own stories and we're gonna figure out how to create our own projects and how to make it happen because a lot of the times us artists are pretty much just the lulu and we are very much just, I don't know, we're very resilient, I would say. We're very passionate about the arts and we love creating stories that are unique, and we love seeing ourselves on screen. Not literally, but um but yeah, definitely cool things are happening within the next generation of animators and filmmakers. I think representation really does matter within career and within the arts and within animation and filmmaking, because it allows for the next generation to be open to the career and let them know that it is possible to make it into the industry. It has definitely been quite a journey to trying to become an artist and an animator. Definitely, I would say it's probably because I am delulu and optimistic and resilience. You definitely have to have a lot of resilience if you want to become an artist or, a part of the animation industry, because it is difficult. It is a journey that, not many take, and there are definitely no how to become an artist, and definitely there's no one way to become an artist. And also, there's no guarantee as well. It's not like a regular career, like a teacher or nurse, where you get your degree, you maybe do an apprenticeship or an internship, and then you start your career as an artist. It's definitely more than that. There's more to it. So if there's anybody out there trying to become a full-time artist, I'm definitely here cheering you on. And to all of those that are from PNCA trying to become a full-time artist, I see you, and I see your guys' work on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'm definitely proud of everyone from PNCA, because there has been a lot of artists that have given up, but you guys definitely have a lot of resilience and are continuing. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed today's chit chat, and I will see you guys in the next one.